Brother Quizzy. Brother Quizzy.
Okay. Outstanding.
You good?
Monkey Turner. Wow.
Monkey Turner.
Monk Coleman.
Either one. Either one.
You got the bio, right?
Yes.
Yeah, either one.
You got the bio. Okay. So we're gonna get
Is
started.
there like, oh, okay. Monk Coleman.
Yeah, it's AKA. That type of thing. You know what I'm
All
saying?
right.
Got you.
So we're gonna let the music roll.
Books today. Say that again.
So we're gonna get the music going and we're gonna.
Let's go.
All right. We're going in 3, 2, 1. Hey, what's going on, everybody? You are listening to KGPC 96.9 FM in Oakland and online at www.kgpc969.org. This is the ACH show with Kenya Asa, Quezzy Dreams, and your man Cat Fitness. How we doing, y'all?
Man, fantastic.
Yeah. Because we got another amazing episode for everybody today.
Yes.
And I want you to give them a proper introduction over there, Brother Quezzy, because we don't have Kenya in the building this week.
Absolutely. Let's get that thing going. But today, our special guest is Monk Coleman. Monk Coleman, you might have heard of him before. You might follow him on social media, or you might just feel the natural vibration. But Monk Coleman is the author of a newly released book, Love Over Fear, A Guide to Peace and Purpose, a guide to letting go of belief systems and connecting to a higher state of being. Goodness gracious, that's 100,000 copies right there. Monk is a graduate of the University of Holistic Theology. Oh my goodness, he done went to heaven to go to school. He is a transformational coach, public speaker, personal trainer, and a three-time pro natural physique.
All natural.
His coaching services can be found on social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Got to get on TikTok. He based his coaching program on his own experience with dealing and healing from alcoholism, poverty, depression, and dysfunctional relationships. He done got it out the mud. Monk has taken his years of experience and created a life of service with love at the forefront. Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause and salutations to our guest, Monk Coleman. How you feeling?
Hey!
Thank you, man. That sounds good. Who was that? Who was he talking about?
I don't know.
You had somebody write that up for you, didn't you?
I'm sure.
He in the parking lot. Let's go get him.
Man, come on.
But all good. So tell us about your book, brother. Love Over Fear, A Guide to Peace and Purpose. What is this book about? How did it come to fruition?
Well, basically, it's a blueprint of really how I changed my life. So it was engineered backwards. So after my life had changed through meditation and connecting on something deeper and being able to heal from the things I needed to heal from, I had already started this speaking career, that's what you want to call it, in coaching and doing different type of things. I've been sober at this point for probably 11 years at this time.
Wow.
Congratulations. 11 years is not a small feat. You know what I'm saying?
And it's 13 years now. But
Wow.
at the time, it was about maybe 11 years, maybe 10 and some change.
Okay.
So what happened was I went to go to a speaking engagement, and I wrote these 10 principles down that are in this book. And I didn't speak on them. I just kind of shelved them. Just put them up. Because usually I don't write it down. Anything I speak on, I just speak on it. Just like, Kat, and the way we speak, it's our experience.
Absolutely.
There's nothing formatted really about it, right?
Yeah.
So
Speak from the heart.
Right, that's it.
Yeah.
You speak from the heart. And whatever comes through, and whoever needs to hear it is going to hear it.
Absolutely.
So I was listening to a YouTube, and this guy was talking about speaking. He said, "What do you give your audience? What do you leave in your audience with?"
Yeah.
So I was like, my energy.
Yeah.
I share my love with them and my story. But a lot of times in those instances, people leave and get back to their regular lives, and it just kind of disappears.
Yeah.
right? So it goes in one ear and out the other. Even though the message is good, even though what we experienced together was good, we don't have anything tangible to take away from it.
Right.
So I started looking back up in the 10 things I wrote down. I knew it was in my notes. So I just started going through all my notes. I'm like, where are these 10 things? Where are these 10 things? And I found them.
Yeah.
And then I just put them in a book and I broke them all down. And I shared my experience with each one of these principles.
Yeah, I like that. So let me ask you this. What is one, maybe two things that you really want the reader and the audience to take away from reading this book?
That there's steps that you can take to align with what you're supposed to be doing here on this planet. Right? There's actionable steps that you can take. You don't just have to sit back and wonder what you're supposed to be doing or how to do it.
Wow.
That sounds very powerful, Mom.
Extremely powerful.
Right.
Extremely powerful.
So
I talk about this a lot just in the work that I do about, a lot of people use hope as an excuse, right? Or like hope as a reason to not pursue your dreams, to not be where you want to be, even financially, physically, right? And I love what you're saying about purpose, right? And having tangible action steps to achieve your purpose. But how specifically can they find that in this book?
Well, I break it down. So mindset, for instance, I talk about mindset, and I talk about a little bit about it, and then I say, well, how can you change your mindset? How can you be more constructive?
And I think that's the part that a lot of people are missing. The mindset aspect of really finding who they truly are. So, what's one of your tips?
For mindset,
you
just have to understand that all your experiences, they're not negative.
Woo!
Right?
Uh-oh.
Can you say that one more time?
Your experiences that you deem negative are not negative.
Oh, what are they?
They're lessons. they're things put in your path to redirect you when you're going the wrong way.
Wow.
So when something stops you in your path, don't try to bulldoze it down. Pivot. Because that's not where you're supposed to go. Anything that feels forced is not for you. So there's a fine line between giving up and going forward when you're not supposed to go forward.
Wow.
But you have to be aware of when to pivot and when to keep staying the course.
Yeah.
So if you stay the course and more obstacles begin, get in your path.
Yeah.
Then you got to ask yourself, is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? Don't force something because you think if you don't do it, you're going to be a failure.
But that sounds like the total opposite of what people tell us. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, if you find a challenge in life, it's only going to make you stronger. It's only going to make you, more excited about reaching your final goal. And you're kind of telling our audience the total opposite.
Or it's the universe telling you this is not for you.
Ooh.
That's like eat your vegetables, but eat ice cream first.
I'm telling you, with your life, alignment is key. It's not about forcing something or breaking down the doors. Whatever you align with the path you're supposed to take, there's not gonna be a lot of resistance behind it. Yes, there will be challenges. Yes, but it will feel right. Even the challenges will feel right.
Okay, I was about to say, how am I going to tell whether it's a challenge or if it feels like resistance that I should be on a different course? I think that's where people get kind of confused of what they're supposed to be doing.
I'm going to tell you when you know what's right. When you can do something for 8, 9, 10, 11 hours and it feels like there's no time has passed.
Oh, wow.
Even if it's a lot of work, it doesn't feel like work.
Wow. And let's clarify. Even looking at it from the perspective of working out, right? Resistance is something that makes you stronger, helps build your muscle. In case you're listening to us on 96.9, you don't see Monk, but this is a good looking man right here. This is a very
man. I get so many compliments when I came into the
right.
This man take care of himself, right? Like physically
hold on. Pump the brake. When I came into this building, I got drugged in the mud, talked about all this stuff, and now
wasn't going to get a pass.
Now all of a sudden, when we on the air, it's the opposite. I don't need this.
That was a little bit of resistance.
Don't
make sure you're in the right place.
Don't let the kindness fool you, folks. That's all I gotta say.
It's all good. Let's clarify though, right? Like even being a man who's in a relationship, right? A man in marriage, it's not always easy, right? So I'm wondering, how do we define what's meant for us versus what's challenging us and encouraging us
Right.
to push forward and become
So just because it's not easy does not mean it's not worth it.
better. Oh, shoot.
So you're gonna find the things that are more challenging to be even a bigger blessing once you get on the other side of those things, right? We have to know, is this really aligning us with what we want to do, what we feel we need to do in life? Is whatever we're doing now, this hard thing, whatever it may be, on the other end, is it going to be worth it?
Okay, so you're speaking to sort of like trusting your intuition, like having a gut feeling of, is this worth it and worth pursuing, or is this something that I need to pivot away from and pursue something that feels more fluid?
I'll give you a perfect example. This last weekend, I was competing in Phoenix in a bodybuilding competition.
Wow.
It's been 2.5 years since I competed. Bodybuilding is one of the most superficial things you can ever do. You don't have to be a good person. You can beat your kids, you can beat your wife, all that stuff, right?
And just go smile on stage.
Smile on stage, and if you look the best, you're gonna win.
Wow.
Right? It's the most. But for me, going backstage and talking to these young men is really important to me. So being a pro bodybuilder and competing against 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds and 40-year-olds on the superficial level, after this competition, I'm like, even though I built a platform because of it, this is not for me. Like, it served its purpose.
Wow.
And it's time to pursue things that light me up more, because bodybuilding does not do that for me.
And I think that's the most challenging thing in life sometimes, because we put so much time and effort into certain things, whether it's a relationship, a job, whatever the case may be, and then it's like, I'm done with this. You know, it's like letting it go. How do I let this go and be able to move forward and create new space to allow some other energy to fulfill that space? You know?
Yeah, right. That's real. So let's backtrack a little bit, because people listening to you right now are seeing you as, I mean, obviously a work in progress, but more of a finished product from the raw form that you were in before you wrote this book, right? Before you brought this to the world. So just speak to us a little bit about that experience. You mentioned going through alcoholism, right? Going through drug addiction, like healing from poverty. What was that experience like, and how did you overcome it?
So I'm one of 7 children, and
7. So where do you?
I'm in the
fall?
middle.
I was going to say, where you fall
3
in the
above me,
7?
3 below me.
Oh man.
So middle child. So my father passed away when I was about 3, and I never had a father figure ever. There was no dude that ever really lived in the house for any substantial amount of time. Like, there was nobody there. And then you think that doesn't affect you. So there's a lot of things we're dealing with here. We're dealing with trauma from this incarnation, right? From this, when you're born here on this planet. We're also dealing with trauma that was passed down to us. Now, when it comes to different races, there's a lot of trauma in different races of people that's passed down from generation to generation. And it's easily explained, and it makes sense because our diets are passed down, our religion is passed down, our habits are passed down, our belief systems are passed down. So you come into this world, and all you see is brokenness. You come into this world, all you see is there's no male role models at all, except for an occasional coach. And then you're also indoctrinated with religion. And then what you're seeing at home is the opposite of religion, of the rules you're supposed to go by. So it's confusing. On one hand, you don't want to go to hell once you realize what that is. And on the other hand, your life at home is hell, right? So where am I supposed to go? So I played both of those roles completely out. I went with the religion when I was younger, and then when I got into my later teenage years, I was in the dysfunction. I went from being in church at 17 to selling crack cocaine at 18.
Wow.
Just that quick.
Yeah, that's a hell of a transition.
The switch that quick from being, I didn't drink, I didn't do anything.
Wow.
At 17, and at 18, I was fully in.
Yeah.
Drinking, selling drugs, being violent.
And how did you get introduced to that lifestyle?
Actually, I moved away when I was in high school. When I moved away, I started to dabble in that stuff, and then I came back. Yeah, I came back, and then some Oakland cats and some Richmond cats. They were selling cocaine. Yeah, they put me on at that time, and then it was just kind of. And the crazy part about it is, even when I was in the religious part of my life, it was always fear-based.
Yeah.
And then in the other part of my life, it was also fear-based because I didn't want to go to prison. I didn't want to get shot. I didn't want all the repercussions from living that lifestyle.
Yeah.
So I dodged prison many, many times. The stories are unbelievable. You wouldn't even believe them if I told you.
Oh yeah, you got to give us one.
Okay, I'm gonna give you one story. Saying my son was just born. This is in 1992, and I have a pocket full of cocaine for sale. So this is during the Clinton years, right? And they give you a lot of time. They give you a lot of time. So everybody I know was going to prison. I had a pocket full for sale. They're all individually packaged. And I seen a police officer across the way, and I was like, I'm gonna drop this off at my friend's house because something don't feel right.
Yeah.
So I got half the block, and then it seemed like police cars dropped out of the sky.
Wow.
Like 5 cars pull up.
Yeah.
They got the guns on me and my friend, and they got us laying face down in the wet grass.
Wow.
So they come to me and they search me, and they just give me a pat around the waist, the normal spots you would hold a weapon.
Yeah.
And they put handcuffs on me and put me in the car. And I was like trying to get it out of my pocket, walk in the car, try to kick it somewhere, get it away from me.
Yeah.
So when he comes back, he starts talking about guns. I guess someone had reported some guns or something there.
Yeah.
And I was like, you just searched me. I don't have any guns.
Yeah.
And he handcuffed me and let me go.
Wow.
Just those type of stories.
Wow.
Like, he would have went in my pockets, I would have been in prison my whole life.
Not here right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That type of thing.
That's powerful.
Yeah, so growing up, I started doing I did both of these things, and I played them out. Even when I was a Christian, quote unquote, I was like trying to get people to join me.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? I was like, I'm scared for you. I want you to not go to hell. You know what I'm saying? Right, right. And then on the other side, I'm like, I at one time I was having people sell for me.
Wow.
Right, so I wasn't no big time dealer. I never did it big enough because I was too scared.
Wow.
Because you're going to prison. Once you get to a certain point, you're going. Or you get killed. Yeah, one of the two. You know what I'm saying? So, and then I went the other way. And then when I went the other way, it was just for 20 plus years of living this lifestyle that I thought, and I kept trying to find something outside of myself. Reaching and grasping, whether it be cars, women, money, whatever it is I thought was going to make me feel good, right? So I think I got my first old school and I got it all painted and done. I thought, man,
candy paint,
yeah, all that, right? I thought it was going to feel a certain way, and it was just empty. It was hollow.
Wow.
Oh, maybe that's not the right car. Let me get a different one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, and the thing is, once you get something, and it could even be a person. How many times have I said, if I was with her, I'd never cheat again? I'd be fake. That's a lie. That's a lie. Yeah. So, I mean, no matter what it is, nothing can complete something that's already complete. And what we try to do is we try to find something outside of us to complete us, not knowing that we're already complete.
Yeah.
So when it got to the point where my health started failing,
oh man,
that's when the universe is going to slap you real lightly at first.
Yeah.
And then it's going to start punching you. If you don't feel that, it's going to hit you over the head with something. Right. So it hit me over the head with something. So now I'm like,
so what was that something? You said your health started to fail. What exactly happened?
I was in Miami getting ready to go big. Well, I already started. I got there, drank all night till the next morning. Next morning, I was peeing blood.
Damn.
Yeah. And that's when I found out I was alcoholic because I didn't stop right away. I stopped for a couple of weeks, but continue to do it.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I was just like,
wow.
It was a decision. And I was so depressed at the time. I was anxious. I was depressed. All that.
And so this is when you were still hustling?
No, not really. I was just kind of like at this point in my late 30s, I was just kind of like the party dude. I mean, I was selling weed a little bit a couple years prior. You know what I'm saying? When I came to Oakland, I was basically just selling weed back in the early 2000s. I was just doing that thing, making trips, right? Yeah. But yeah, so I'm up here and now I'm depressed already, and now I got this. So the only thing that I had, which was my pledge, was alcohol.
Wow.
I had to make a decision. And it had to be all or nothing.
Yeah.
Continue and not be here, or stop and figure this shit out. Right?
Wow.
So I had to figure it out. And I don't know why, that meditation came to my awareness. But I just looked it up. I looked it up. I said, sit down and listen. See what comes up. Basically is what it said. I can't tell you exactly what it said, but it said, sit down
Wow. God got through you. You broke through the wall.
Real quick, everybody, we got our one of our co-hosts chiming in on IG all the way from Europe right now. What's up, Ruby?
What's up, guys?
What's happening? What's happening?
Hey, we're glad that you're having an amazing trip out there.
Yes, welcome back. Kind of, sort of, virtually, welcome back.
What's going on?
Nothing much. I'm so glad to be able to see you and to hear you more. I've talked to you before, so I know a little bit about your story, but just to hear you dropping gems and talking about how meditation saved you is just super inspiring all over again. So
thank you so much.
I'm glad that I got to pop in, even though I'm in Portugal.
Portugal.
And then people want to know, when are you coming back?
I'm coming back on October 4th.
So next year.
Next year.
So we'll see you in a little while.
We'll see you soon.
We'll see you soon. Leaving for Germany tomorrow. So
real quick, do you have any questions for Monk while we have you on here?
I do. So one of the things, I'm in mental health, and I think that one thing that some of our viewers might be thinking about is, because we're always talking about holistic ways, meditation being one of them, right, to help our mood or to help our depression or to address some issues that we're not ready to address. And so what I want to know is, what is your thought? Because this country is always trying to medicate us, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a pill for everything,
Right.
Everything,
right?
And a pill for the pill.
What are your thoughts on what should come first? Do we look to the medical field first to see if they have something for us, a little pink pill or something like that, or do we take a chance, right, and turn inward? Because there's clinical depression, there's all kinds of different anxiety disorders. This is my field, so I think about this quite a bit. But what's your thought on kind of, it's not one against the other, right? The medical field against the holistic field. What do you think about those two kind of disparate ways of dealing, of addressing these issues?
Wow. Before you answer that, I just want to remind everybody listening, you are tuned in to KGPC 96.9 FM. You are listening to the Anything Can Happen show. Follow us at ach.show on Instagram. Follow Monk at Monk Eternal. Follow me, Quessy Dreams. Follow Cat Fitness. Follow Ruby Envy. And stay tuned because we are just getting started. But Monk, passing it back to you, brother.
Yeah, so for me, it's so funny when it came to my depression and alcoholism and things like that. When I was drinking, I got the Serenity Prayer on my arm, not knowing that this was something that the AA used, right? So I'm full on drinking. And people are like, you in the program? I'm like, what program?
What program? The drinking program.
No parts of it.
I'm getting my slur on.
Right. Do I want to get with the program? What are you talking about? They say, oh, your tattoo, it's this and that. And a lot of people look at my book and they go, these are like the principles that AA uses. I've never been to AA in my life. So I think there's information that, see, pharmaceuticals and the holistic community should work together. Pharmaceuticals, you know what they're about. So that's the issue. So even people that are working standardized, medicine, a lot of them are they got their hands tied as far as giving information in other ways of doing things besides giving them medication.
And can you elaborate on that? Because I'm not sure all of our listeners are on the same page or understand inherently what you're saying.
Well, there's certain things that doctors cannot say to patients that would really help their life or they would be in trouble for it. Like if someone said, hey, try this plant-based diet, or that's a no-no, right? Try this. No, because the money is in the so-called solution, and that's the pharmaceutical.
Prolonging the disease.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. They don't want you dead, they just want you sick.
Yeah,
right? They don't want you dead, they just want you sick. So I believe that, like I said, we are whole and complete. And whatever we have, if we can tap into it, we have that information. If we can tap into that, which we already have within us, we have healing, we have peace, we have peace of mind, we have all of that. And that's why these new things, like in different communities, even in prisons, they're implementing meditation.
Yes.
Right? So because they know if
Yoga projects.
you hear me? So these things have been around for thousands of years. And what meditation does, see, people get confused when meditation. It's not about silencing your mind. It's not, but it will naturally slow down and will naturally, start to quiet. But what it does is it changes the relationship with your thoughts.
Oh my goodness. Can you repeat that one more time?
Meditation changes the relationship with your thoughts. So at one minute you're looking at them like this is real, and the next minute you're looking at them like this is neutral. So if you can look at your thoughts as neutral, now you have the choice to use that thought in whatever way you want to use it, instead of being used by that thought.
Wow.
So if a thought comes up that you don't like and you just attach to it, it's going to grow and it's going to gain momentum and it's going to gain power, which creates that emotional thing within you. But if you can look at it as if it's just a thought, you don't have to connect with that thought. You don't have to let that thought take you somewhere where you don't want it to take you. And this is where anxiety comes in. If a thought pops up, so thinking comes from your subconscious first. It has to be there first before it's thrown up to your conscious mind. So our subconscious program is created by the experiences we had when we were babies and even before we were babies. I mean, there's studies now that say in the mama's stomach, the mama's going through a whole bunch of stuff. You're getting this energy, right? It's affecting you inside the womb.
It's absolutely true.
Right? So your subconscious throws it up to your conscious. Now, what if your subconscious program is super dysfunctional? Guess what's going to be thrown at you all the time? Dysfunction. You don't know what to do. You got all this stuff thrown up, and then you're attaching to all these different things thrown up from your subconscious.
Wow.
So what meditation does is it changes out your subconscious program to a different program. Now you're not getting it with the severity. Those dysfunctional subconscious thoughts are not getting thrown up like they were before. It's not a full-on assault. Every once in a while you'll get them, but on the other hand, when you change out that program, these thoughts that are thrown up are loving, are kind thoughts, are thoughts of how can I do better, are thoughts of compassion, thoughts of healing, are thoughts of community. These are the thoughts that come up automatically when you don't heal from this old thought pattern that you used to have, that subconscious program.
Wow.
And I tell people all the time, I'm like, look, we all walk around with our own identities and we believe it fully, right? So if you ask someone who they are, really who they are, a lot of times they just go silent because they really don't know. But the most people are gonna say, my job, my race, my sex, what I do, where I've been, all these things. If you didn't know that when you were born, then that is not you. That is something was created that you accepted.
Attachment.
Right? So you didn't know you were black till someone told you. You didn't know you were female till someone told you. Right? So you didn't know what religion you were until someone introduced you to one. You didn't have this religion. This religion wasn't there when you were born. You had no idea what religion was. So if it wasn't part of you when you were born, it might be something you do. It might be something you're called, but it's not you.
Right.
Right? We are.
This is thick.
Do you think that the medical community is going to head more towards holistic healing and things like meditation and other alternative healing modalities? Or do you think that there's going to be some fear, right, in the medical community of, well, let's not let our money slip away, or by encouraging people, because we're not encouraged.
Yeah.
Anything different.
Well, I think the money is long and the money is deep and the money is old.
Yeah.
And whoever has it does not want to let go of it.
Yeah.
And what is that Jimi Hendrix quote? It says, when the love of what did he say?
Oh,
You know what I'm talking about?
I do.
When the power of love overcomes the love of dang, what is that?
Yeah, that sounds like some Jimi Hendrix would say.
Right.
Look,
It's really about the power of love over the love of power. When that shifts, when you move from a loving place and rather from I want all the power, in love with power, you're in love with love, then everything changes because you move from a different energy, a different vibration, a different frequency. And money is not so important to you anymore. And power is not so important to you anymore. It's the unity that we all are connected at the deepest level, all from the same source. When we understand this, then everybody is your brother. Everybody is your sister.
Wow. And this is such a good conversation because it reminds me of, I actually watched this documentary just last night on HBO. It's called Meet the Donors, right? And this is a great conversation because it talks about how donors, like billionaires, donate to these super PACs for candidates and politicians. And that's essentially what gets them elected, right? It has way less to do with the people who vote as it does with the people who are in front of the people who vote. And what gets them in front of them is the money, right? And even talking about the oil industry, right? And all these different companies and corporations that pollute the earth. But they do this for the bottom line, right? Like to make their dollar because it's fueling capitalism, right? So I really want to ask you, as somebody who, preaches about holistic and preaches about living a plant-based lifestyle, like what can we do on an individual basis in order to really create that future that we want to see manifest?
So if people ask me, well, what can I do? How can I change the world? You got to change your inner world. If you want the outer world to change, it's going to reflect your inner world. So if everybody does their part as individuals, collectively, we can change the world.
And then collectively, we unite. You know what I'm saying? It's like, until I work on being the best person that I can be internally, how do I help my brothers and sisters around me?
So I'm going to tell you how we do. So action is action, right? So say I want to go out and protest. I want to go out and protest because I'm angry. I want to go out and protest because we've been done wrong. I want to go out and protest because I'm just sick of this and I'm tired of it. And I go out and I'm angry and I'm going to protest and I'm going to be mad. If you know anything about energy, you're going to get that energy back. Now you can go out and protest the same walk with a different energy. And Martin Luther King understood this. You go out with the energy that you want to get back. You go out you're still marching, you're still doing the same thing, but your energy is different.
Yeah, because then the true demon's going to be revealed at the end of the day.
Absolutely. And the true intention of your walk and that energy is going to be so much more powerful because love it's the most powerful force in the universe. Mm-hmm. So if you walk with that, nothing can stop you. And it's way more powerful than anything on the negative side of the spectrum. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Anything fear-based, love-based is 1,000 times more powerful.
Yeah, and I think that was the power with him and those marches when they seen people not fighting back and getting the treatment that they got. That's why I got the national media looking at those situations, and people were like, "Oh my God, these people are not even fighting back. They're just getting beat and brutalized." It's like we need to make some kind of change in this world.
And I understood that, but back in the day, I used to be like, "Oh, he's soft. I'm a Malcolm X guy." You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But now I understand that without him doing it the way he did it, that this talk would have been like, "Oh, look at the black people violent as usual." The same narrative would have been used against black people.
Yeah. Let's bring it down to the actual, for lack of a better word. Sure, you're a father, correct?
Yeah.
Yes. And are you married?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So what are some things that first, how old are your children?
The oldest one is 29, and the youngest is 13.
The youngest is 13. And so what are some things that you share with your children that you wish you would have known when you were their age?
Ooh. Well, the older ones, they saw a lot. Yeah. And then, you are where you are. And that's okay. Yeah. That's where you were. So a lot of times we like to blame people for being wrong and not having it figured out. Yeah. We got to treat people as if they were children still on a learning process.
Wow.
So if your child is getting potty trained and he messes in his pull-up, you don't beat him for that. Mm. We got to understand that everybody's at different stages of their development. and we got to be okay with where they are. So that means I have to be okay with where I was.
Wow.
A lot of times I like to blame myself, but then I have to look about where I came from and the experiences shaped and molded me.
Yeah.
Right. So no one's to blame, but yes, I would have been a better example. I wish I would have been a better example for my children. I wish I would have. I didn't know what to do myself.
Exactly. So, they got to see, well, at least your oldest got to see the old transform into the new, that entire process. And no telling how that affected his life in the sense that it's like, okay, I saw my dad go from X, Y, and Z, and now he's a totally different being right now. I have that same power within me. You know what I'm saying? It's certain things that I even think back with my father and just stories and things that he told me. And it just instilled a certain level of power within me to know that I can make change in my own life whenever I had that mindset to do it.
Yeah. And what's the biggest shift that you said your oldest is 29, that was 30 years ago. Right? It sounded like that was in the midst of the alcoholism and all the other things that you were dealing with, right? So what, if any, changes have you noticed in your relationship with your older children from that life to this life?
Well, some of my children are struggling, having a hard time right now, and the patience and understanding that I wouldn't have had back then, I have that now. And I understand that everybody, no matter what you want for them, they're on their own individual journeys. And as painful as it might be to watch, you just have to hold space and love them. That's all you can do. When we start to judge and do things like that, we're not adding anything good to this whole process. We have to hold space and love. That's all we can do. That's the best thing that we can do. Anything else, trying to say, you need to do this or you need to do that. Did we listen when someone, did I listen when someone said, you need to do this? No, I didn't listen. Right? I had to have those experiences. I had to go to the darkness. I had to go to the bottom. I had to experience that. And it's so many times now that I look back, that the experiences that would happen was telling me, look, this is not it. This is not what you're supposed to be doing. And I just shake it off and just keep pushing, right? And it just gets strong. 1 month I had a complete knee reconstruction. And my appendix went out at the same time. I had emergency appendectomy in the same month. So I'm still doing what I'm doing, drinking and doing it. Then I fell down some stairs while my leg was healing. And tore it back up, and I still continue. So it's like these things that it's like, you're going to wake up now? Nah, I ain't gonna wake up yet. Not yet. You gonna wake up now?
Some more.
Nah, I'm good. I enjoy doing what I'm doing. I thought. But the alcohol is crazy. Alcohol is the most accepted drug on the planet.
Crazy.
It's the most accessible one too. You go anywhere and get some alcohol. You go to a gas station, you go to your little corner stores, you go to grocery stores.
Man, it's so, and you celebrate with it. It's not like, think about it, if you would have interchanged the alcohol with crack cocaine. Right? So, we're going to celebrate and smoke this stuff. You know what I'm saying? It sounds crazy, but that's basically what you're doing.
Imagine crack cocaine billboards on the freeway.
Right. It's the same thing. Look, when I lived in West Oakland, the liquor store opened at 6 a.m. And there was 10, 15 people sometimes out there.
Ready.
In the dark, waiting for that liquor store.
That new iPhone dropping.
Yes,
6 a.m.
And you don't think that's a problem? Oh, it's a huge problem. And I used it for years and years and years because I'm going to tell you why I used it. It made me feel okay. Without it, I didn't feel okay. So alcohol gives you a false sense of being present. Anybody that's ever been drunk knows that they're in the moment at that time. You ain't thinking about nothing. If you're shy, you're not shy anymore.
No more.
Right? If you are quiet, introvert, all of a sudden you extrovert. You know what I'm saying?
You're peaceful.
Right? And or if you're not violent, sometimes you turn violent. Whatever the case may be, it changes you. And the best example of the best way I've ever heard drugs told, it was by David Hawkins. It's an author that I read by. But he said, alcohol and drugs, it doesn't make you high. it suppresses the lower parts of you.
Oh man.
To allow the high to be there. And that's really you.
Man.
But it's done with a drug.
Wow.
So that's really part of
That's
you.
deep. I've never even thought about it from that.
Man. Yeah, I know Bob Marley said that weed exposes you to your true self, right? So along those same lines, right? Like marijuana exposes you to your true self.
Yeah, so instead of all these insecurities that I had built up that was in me when I drank, it just kind of pushed them down. Yeah. And allowed me to be who I really am for a short period.
Yeah.
And then after that's gone, then you got the physical hurt and the mental hurt and the depression because it's a depressant.
Yeah.
So now, and then the cycle continues. You always want to feel. That's why everybody always chases that high, because they experience themselves for the first time, and they love the way it felt.
Yeah.
And they always want to try to go back and experience that again.
Absolutely. This is the Anything Can Happen show. So I know some of our listeners, you know, they might be caught up in the throes of alcohol and liquor and the feelings that it gives them, right? And what you're saying is absolutely true. My question is, how do you find that without the drugs?
Well, it's always there, like I said. So that feeling is always there. That peace is always there. That high feeling is always there. You just have to connect to it. And that's why I feel like, meditation is so important, because I connect. And, the word God, I used to be, when I was in church, God meant one thing, and now God means another thing. And even to this day, sometimes it's hard for me to say it, because everybody has their own version of that. But I believe it's within us, whatever that is. There's an author named Alan Watts, a philosopher, talks about a lot of theology and things like that. But he said, the word water cannot make you wet. And what he's saying is, whatever you call something doesn't change what it is. So you can call God, source, universe. You can call God whatever you want to call God. Whatever you want to call it, that experience that you have, but it doesn't change what it is. Like, we went outside and started looking at a car and started calling it a plane. We can call it whatever we want to, but it doesn't change what it really is. Right? So to connect to that higher self, to connect to God, to reprogram yourself by sitting still and being aware of things that are coming up and processing these things and dealing with your emotions in real time and not trying to suppress them. So a lot of times we're so distracted, we just try to do everything besides deal with our own stuff, right? We can't sit in a room for 5 minutes when it's quiet. We need stimulation.
Yeah.
It's because we're afraid to go there. We're afraid to experience what is inside of us. It's scary.
Looked like you had something to chime in with.
Yeah, I was just going to say that's so true. And I have, without calling out this person, I do know somebody that is terrified of meditation, terrified of quiet, actually. This person literally cannot wake up in the morning. And I know, because this is a good friend of mine, I've woken up with her many times, hanging out at her house or on vacation. And she cannot sit quiet even for 5 minutes upon waking up. And she does have a long history of trauma and, many, many things. And the silence is terrifying to her. So she has to start talking out loud first thing in the morning. Even if she's not saying anything, even if it's just jibber jabber. And ironically, not so ironically, this person is also not kind of a little bit of afraid of yoga, because just the sitting and being still and just the being alone with her own thoughts or not thoughts, just being alone with silence is really difficult. And a lot of that comes from an inability, or what she thinks is an inability, to kind of start uncovering some of the stuff that she doesn't want to look at, or what people will call the shadow, doing the shadow work and things like that, because there's so much trauma and there's so much fear of really looking at stuff. And there's a lot of us have this. A lot of us have this, where it's really too hard or too terrifying, really, because then you have to think about who are the people that I need to release from my life, who may have been a part of this traumatic journey, and stuff like that. So it's very, very challenging. It's not a simple thing, and you know this from your experience, Monk. There was nothing simple about your journey.
No, not at all. And the thing about it is, I really found out how crazy my mind was when I started sitting down. I was nuts. The stuff that would come through, I'm like, are you serious?
Yeah.
Like, are you serious?
Yeah.
I mean, it was unbelievable how fast it was just coming and coming and coming and coming. It's like you close your eyes. Sometimes I used to open my eyes real fast, like just to get back to seeing something.
Reality.
You know what I'm saying? Because when you close them eyes down and it goes inside, it's a scary place.
Yeah.
Years because of that. I meditated one time. This was probably about 20 years ago. I had an altar in my room and all this other stuff, and I was going through a lot. And I chose this time to decide to meditate this day, which, maybe that wasn't the right idea, But it was so hard, and I was crying, and all of this stuff just sitting at my altar, that it took me years to meditate again because I was scared of it.
Wow.
It took me years. Yeah.
Yeah, that's powerful.
So when things start to come up and you start, like I said, to see things neutrally, right? It almost becomes a joke at some point.
Wow.
Like it comes up and you're like, okay, I see you. You know what I'm saying? When thoughts start to come, okay, I see you. And if things start to, get a little bit scary for you, then that's when you start implementing your breathing, right? Because a lot of times when we get caught with a thought, we don't even know it, but our breathing gets short and fast because we don't even know that we're emotionally getting caught up in this thought.
Wow.
So once you can catch that, it's really about awareness. How, checking in the morning, how
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So when you realize that you're getting caught up in a thought, and back in the day when I used to smoke weed, sometimes if I didn't drink, I'd get panic attacks. And the reason why it happened was, I even passed out once.
Wow.
And the reason why is because I stopped my breathing. I was so caught up in the emotion and the powerful thought that I forgot to breathe.
Wow.
This is why you get dizzy and fall out. You ain't breathing.
Yeah.
So if you can find whatever it is that scares you and just go, you can say a mantra or whatever you want to say, and just focus on relaxing and breathing. And because when you start to get anxiety, your whole body is tense. People don't understand this. Your body is tense, your heart rate shoots up, and then it becomes real to you because now you feel something physically, and it just keeps going.
Yeah.
Now it gains more power.
Yeah. Yeah.
So real quick, I know we only have a few minutes left in this episode. Already. It's been so many jewels. If y'all been watching since the beginning. If not, make sure you go back to the beginning of this episode. You can always catch it online at www.kgpc969.org. But can you lead us in like a little basic meditation real quick for our viewers out there?
Yeah, we're just going to get relaxed. That's what we're going to do.
Okay, let's get nice and relaxed. We got a couple minutes.
And relax. And this is going to require some listener participation. You're not just listening to this, you are actually involved in this activity. So get ready to get relaxed.
So first of all, if you can find a place where you could, even if it's a chair, get your feet flat on the ground, or you want to sit on a pillow or something like that. One thing I learned is if you sit, in the lotus, half lotus position, a lot of times it's hard for people to do, but if you do that, have your seat bones higher than your knees, which will make you, will balance you out, right? So when I first started meditating, I was just sitting on the ground and it was messing with my lower back, and it was taking my attention away from my breath, and it was taking it to my lower back. But once I raised my seat bones up, I was nice and balanced. So you want to get nice and balanced wherever you are, however you're sitting. And then now, I'm going to invite you to close your eyes if you want to. And we're going to take a couple deep breaths. Long inhale through your nose. And a long exhale through your mouth. And every time you do this, I want you just to sink a little bit deeper, a little bit more relaxed. So right now, we're just bringing our awareness to our bodies, right? We're getting out of our head and coming into our bodies. So now inhale through your nose. And exhale. I don't want you to change your breath. I don't want you to just, however it is, I want you to just be aware of it. So if your breath is fast, breathing is fast, just let it be fast. Slow, let it be slow. Just be aware of it. One more deep breath into the nose. Long exhale through the mouth. Now I just want you to focus on your breath, the air coming in and out of your nose. Every breath, I want you to be more and more relaxed. Whatever thoughts come, let them come. Don't try to resist them. Don't try to keep them from coming. Allow them to come and allow them to go. Just be the watcher. Whatever comes, just watch it. When you find yourself away, I want you to bring your awareness back to your breath. And every time you find yourself away, I want you to bring your awareness back to your breath without judgment. If you're having a lot of issues with focusing on your breath, you can count. So count your breaths up to 5. And then start over back at 1. And when you feel like you can focus on your breath, you start counting. So we're going to go ahead and check in with our bodies now. Again, just focus on your breath and relax. That's all you're doing. There's nothing to do. Just be present in this moment. Start at your feet. To relax your toes, your feet. Check for any tension. Your ankles. And go up to your knees, your lower leg and your knees. Any tension. Just relax into that. Your upper legs. Feel any sensations that you feel. Just be aware of them. Your hips. Solar plexus. Your chest. Just feel the relaxation. Every breath. Your shoulders. Your upper arms. Your lower arms. Your jaw, your tongue, your eyes. Let your jaw slightly hang over. And now you're just going to feel this relaxation in your whole body. Nothing to do besides being present. You're going to take a long, deep breath in. A long exhale out. And just gently open your eyes. Come back to the room. And that's it. Just a short meditation. Short, relaxing meditation. It's that simple.
Ooh, wow. Man.
Oh, got it, boy. You almost put me to sleep.
So people want to get more, in tune with themselves and want to reach out to you. How can they get a hold of you, Monk?
Monketernal.com is my website. And then Instagram is monk_eternal. And then on Facebook, shoot, I have those pages, but you can reach me at Vegan Monk on Facebook.
Yes, and get his book, Love Over Fear. This is out today. Can they get this in store on
Amazon?
Online?
Yeah, only on. Well, I have it in a couple of local stores.
Okay.
Out here in the Bay Area, but online on Amazon.
Outstanding.
Mm-hmm.
Outstanding. We got a nationwide audience. So support Brother Monk, Love Over Fear, online today, Amazon.com. Get you a copy. Tell everybody you know. And most importantly, protect your spirit. Well, Brother Mike, anything you want to leave the people with?
Man, love is the answer no matter what the question is.
That's high. Love is the answer.
We're going to definitely end the show on that one, y'all. Right here, Kwesi, let them know where they can find you on social media if they want to get in contact with you.
Absolutely. So in case you don't know, September is Life Insurance Awareness Month. I repeat, it is Life Insurance Awareness Month. We should know by now, with the global pandemic happening, how important it is to make sure you and your family are covered, and not just covered, or have proper protection. So I am actually offering free financial consultations to the first 5 people to reach out to me on Instagram at kwesi.dreams. I repeat, free financial consultations to the first 5 people. Send me a message on Instagram at kwesi.dreams. And let's rise, people. Brother Cat.
So Sister Ruby is not in the building, but you can find her on all platforms, IG, everything, Ruby Envy. So make sure you follow her on social media. You can find your man Cat Fitness on IG at Cat Fitness 3, Facebook Cat Fitness, and check out the website www.catfitnesswellnesscenter.com for all your holistic health questions, y'all. Thank you for tuning to another episode of the ACH Show. And you can catch us every week on KGPC 96.9 FM in Oakland and online at www.kgpc969.org. We'll see you next time. Have a great one.
Boom. Nice.
There it is.
Nice.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, whoever was on here paying attention to the interview, I appreciate y'all. Let me see the comments. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Peace and love to you. Peace and love to you. Mm-hmm.
That was amazing episode, y'all.
Yeah, that was good. That was fun. Some questions I didn't get a chance to ask, but we're going to circle back to.
We definitely got to circle back. Monk, anything for our live viewers that you want to say that's on Facebook and YouTube right now before we get out of here?
Just on Facebook and YouTube?
Yeah.
What's that?
Them low platforms.
Any backstage? Ask them the question so they get it backstage. Ask them the question. They get it.
Backstage question only for our Facebook and YouTube viewers. So tell your people to tap in with us live. But my question, Mark, for the smokers in particular, I know that you've heard this before and you might have had this mentality where people will say, oh, well, I can only achieve meditation or that inner peace when I'm high, right? What advice would you give to them specifically?
Don't get high.
Don't get high.
No. What advice would I give to people that I don't think that's the truth, right? I guess if it's true for you, it might be true for you, but I don't really think that's the truth. That's like saying, I couldn't be okay without alcohol, right? You can be. When you tell yourself you can't be something,
why am I dependent on this other thing?
Look,
that's outside
there's
of
nothing wrong with, in my opinion, with cannabis.
Yeah.
It depends on why you're using it, though.
Yeah.
I think where the issue comes in. If you're using it as
And
a
how much
crutch,
you use it.
right, or you're using it as a spiritual experience, I think that's okay. If that's what you're doing, well, you gotta be honest with yourself. Why are you using it? Can I stop this if I want to stop it?
Yeah.
Right.
Am I in control of this?
Am I in control of this thing? Right. So anything that you don't have control over, but sex ain't bad.
Yeah.
But if you an addict, it's a bad.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
It can do more harm.
Right. It can do more harm than good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, if you're really honest with yourself, you really ask yourself those tough questions, you're gonna get the answers. You might not like the answers.
Yeah.
That's the problem. When you don't like the answers, you justify your behavior.
Yeah.
Right? And I used to do that for the longest time. I justified everything.
Yeah.
Right? I'm doing this because of this.
Yeah. It all makes sense at the end
Right.
of the day.
I'm doing this because of this. But
Yeah.
being honest with yourself, man.
Wow.
Being honest with yourself, not justifying your behavior. Asking yourself, why?
Yeah.
Is this really the reason, or am I just telling myself this is the reason why I'm doing this?
Yeah.
Right? Am I doing this because it's really doing something positive for my life, or am I doing it because I'm dependent on this thing? And it could be shopping, it could be your diet, it could be
So many things.
yeah, it could be so many, it could be anything.
You hear that too?
Yeah.
Well, this is a backstage pass show. Oh,
that
shoot.
if we work hard
What's the
enough,
deal? Is that live right now?
I think that's live.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, yeah, but yeah, I mean, you know, like I said, everything has its own personal relationship with whoever's doing it.
Yeah. So y'all got it here first. ACH show, Monk Eternal. Go check my man out. Where's the book at so we can show him?
Yeah, show them the book. I didn't know. So this has been out.
About
Go ahead and check it out.
Okay. No, it's
We're gonna have this brother sell 1 million copies. I'm gonna put that into a universe. 1 million copies of this book is gonna be around the world. Be one of the people that supported him. You can get it on Amazon.
Amazon.
Yeah, what, $10, $15?
Yeah, it's like 11, I think.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a steal.
Mhm.
There you go. We'll see you. We'll see you next week, y'all. Peace.
Wow, that's dope. That's very good.